It's story time, and today we're going to read the story of Ferdinand. Ferdinand is a quiet little bull who likes to spend time alone smelling flowers in a pasture. Even when he grows up to be the biggest bull, he still likes to spend time smelling flowers. One day a bee stings Ferdinand, causing him to run and jump and make a lot of noise. Some men who are looking for a tough bull to be in the bullfight spot Ferdinand at that very moment. Let's find out what happens. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. Do you know what a bull is? A bull is a male cow, the boy cows. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. What does butt heads mean? No, not like that. They butted their heads together. This was a way of knocking their heads together. So male animals, when they're fighting, they knock their heads together like this. But not Ferdinand. He liked to just sit quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. Do you know what the word pasture means? It's a grassy area where animals eat. So there's lots of grass. And in the middle of the pasture was this tree that Ferdinand liked to sit under. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. I think Ferdinand, because he liked to sit in the grass under his favorite tree and smell the flowers instead of playing, I think Ferdinand liked to be alone. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here where I can sit quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. Now, bullfights is a sport in Spain where a person fights with a bull in a place called a bull ring. So the bulls wanted to be picked to go fight in the bowl. You can see here they're looking at what we call like an advertisement, and they are looking, hoping that somebody will come and pick them because they are big and strong. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. So Ferdinand didn't want to be picked. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping so the men would think that they were very, very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Do you know what snorting is? It's breathing hard and noisily through your nose. So that's what the bulls would do. And fierce. Do you know what the word fierce means? Strong and scary. So they wanted to appear strong and scary to these guys. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him and didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. Ferdinand thinks he won't get picked because he thinks he's not strong enough or the kind of bull that they're looking for. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Uh-oh. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him. And that is just what the bee did to Ferdinand. Ouch! Wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting and butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. Uh-oh. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. He was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. Uh-oh. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. So you can see, hauling Ferdinand away. Does Ferdinand seem very happy, do you think? What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing. All the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderilleros with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick the bull and make him mad. The banderillos were people who used darts in a bullfight. They take their pins and poke at the bull to make them mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. So the picadores were men with spears, and a spear is a long stick with a pointy end. Then came the matador, and the matador was the person who fights the bull. The proudest of all, he thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull. And you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderillas were afraid of him, and the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran into the middle of the ring, everyone shouting and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers and all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. I think Ferdinand didn't fight because he has no idea what the men want him to do. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the banderillos were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and his sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. He is very happy. The end. I wonder if Ferdinand ever played with the other bulls when he was younger. Why do you think Ferdinand doesn't want to play with the others? Oh, yeah, that could be. Why do you think Ferdinand enjoys sitting in the cool grass, watching butterflies and smelling flowers? I see. Ferdinand sits and smells the flowers in the bull ring. I wonder if he knows what he's supposed to do when the bullfighters try to fight him. I don't think so either. Well, this was our first read aloud of Ferdinand. I hope you enjoyed this story, and we will read it again. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. See you next time.